and welcome to MCTV's Let's Talk. I'm Mike Stanzilis, the Vice President of Membership and Business Development for the Morris County Chamber of Commerce. And today we have with us three amazing guests. We have Maureen Ennis, Laura Ali, and Ed Ramirez. So Laura and Maureen, they're from Thrive Digital Era, and they work with leaders so that their businesses can be successful in the future. And they're known for taking organizations to the next level by accelerating profitable growth and organizational success strategies. Laura is a Xerox alumni and executive from Xerox, and she's used to taking things to market in today's challenging and complex economy. Maureen has years of experience leading teams through lots of transformations in her years at Honeywell. And Ed Ramirez, Ed is our Director of Professional Resources and Business Development for the Morris County Economic Development Corporation. So Ed is a transformational leader for sure, and he seeks to pull out the best in people. In 2002, after serving 12 years in the Army, he, along with his wife, established Harvest Outreach Ministry Church in Paterson, New Jersey, and their mission is to lift up, train up, and send out. And they're going to celebrate 18 years this December. So thank you, Maureen, Laura, and Ed for being here today. So, you know, I think the three of your expertise really comes together at this sort of tipping point where we are right now in how business is done, right? The pandemic has thrust the future on us faster than we were expecting. And so I want to talk to you about, you know, going from crisis management into really sort of, you know, thriving in this new reality, and what key steps that we can take to do that. And so, Laura, I know that you really have a lot of expertise in marketing and sales. So what are you doing, and where are you guiding people into recapturing revenue, a lot of revenue that has been lost through the pandemic?
Yeah, a lot of revenue has been lost. But first I want to say to Mike and Ed and to Megan, you guys have been doing a great job during this pandemic. So I wanted to tell you that I know the business community is very thankful for that. These kind of episodes and seminars, they've been great. So thank you for that. But what I've been telling people is it starts with your mindset, right? You need to recoup everything that you've lost in really a third of the year. It's been 4 months, right? And mindset isn't like a little buzzword. People are craving hope and optimism right now. I find that all this negative stuff, I can't even watch the news at night anymore. And people want to be around people that have hope and have optimism. So I say to my business owners that I work with, if you're struggling with that, there's so many good stories online to find. I just read one this morning before our meeting about a man who lost $100 million and made a rebound. There's stories like that all over the place. So find some, but surround yourself with hopeful, optimistic people. That makes a big difference. To me, that's a game changer. I think you guys have been very hopeful and optimistic during this pandemic. I think that's why you're so successful. The second thing is you got to go back to that old-fashioned SWOT analysis. Everybody needs to revamp a little, right? So we need to figure out what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses. How do we recraft that business model that we have? Because a lot of people, quite frankly, have to change it. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah, absolutely. We have, as you, know, so astutely noted, we are definitely rethinking our entire business model for sure.
Right. Yeah. I know, and everybody really has to. Even if you're coming out of this pandemic doing well, there's still major changes you have to think. So you need to surround yourself with really bright, smart people, a group of advisors, good employees, and figure out how you're going to make the shift. How are you going to adjust? Because you need to figure out what's the game plan. Is your goal to make up 2 times, 3 times the revenue you would normally make over the summer? A lot of time, most of our customers take off in the summer. I find that most people aren't even thinking about doing that because they're in recoup mode, right? I know, it's something. But so once you redefine your offer, and I suggest you focus on trying to come up with solutions to problems that people don't even really know they're going to have. That's really where the game changing begins, is be insightful and think about what are going to be the problems of these customers of mine, and how can I come up and craft solutions for that. And I think that's a big deal. And then the other thing is you have to remember that skills now have to cross boundaries. Everybody's in sales. So people always say, oh, you make a living teaching people to sell. Well, we all sell all the time, even if you're not in sales, right? So you need to really focus on your skills. You need to focus on attunement, which is having harmony with others. That's where that emotional intelligence comes into play. A lot of times, like, people have been used to selling behind computer screens all the time. They forget about that human portion. They have to be buoyancy. They've got to have grit that means. If you're buoyant, you have grit and you have an optimistic outlook, and you have to have clarity. You really have to make sure that you're focusing on what the customers are going to need next. I'm talking too much, right? Which is, there's so much to talk about with sales, but let me turn it right back over to you guys.
Well, you know, you've said you weren't talking too much because your message is spot on. And I love some of the words you're using. Hope is such an amazing word. And then you said to surround yourself with really brilliant people. Well, I'm looking at my Brady Bunch screen here right now, and I'm surrounded by brilliant people. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, really a great message. Maureen, you know, speaking of hope and surrounding yourself with great people, teams are made of hopefully great people, right? And you work a lot with teams. Tell us about what's going on now in this sort of new era of team building and what you're doing to help the teams that you work with to succeed.
Yeah, I think right now it's a moment as we transition from crisis to what's next. It's a huge moment for teams, and we transition from being physically distanced to maybe still being somewhat physically distanced, getting a little more interaction at some point, but still having to face and figure out together how we're going to work in this new remote environment that we're all facing. So we've been working on a program called Emerging Stronger, because we really want to give teams that sense that now is the time to get together and think about how we can be even better than before. So taking what you and Laura both mentioned about mindset, you know, that's where we start. And what we recommend to leaders and what we help leaders make happen is to be intentional about giving teams time to reconnect, to rebuild their relationships, to reset their team norms. And what's been really interesting with the teams we've been working with is this idea of elevating the norms even more. If we used to say supporting each other was something that a code we lived by, now we're really delving into what does that mean? What do you need from your team members so that you can all collectively knock it out of the park?
You know, I think what you're telling me is that, you know, there is a silver lining here in all of this pandemic working, different types of working environments, and you've found that and you're working towards that. Is there anything else you're working with your teams in light of this new era?
Yeah, well, the other piece that's so important in terms of creating these high impact teams right now is realignment, right? With all those shifts that happen, it's quite impossible that you wouldn't need to readjust what people's roles are, what your key strategies are, as Laura talked a little bit, get clear on what the customer's emerging priorities are. So really to spend time digging into, we call them key accountabilities, where everybody's very clear, these are the 5 things I own for this team to be successful, and creating the collaboration practices so that even in a remote environment, that the team is still working together interdependently. Something that can happen in times like we've just been through is that teams start to go into their own silos. So we want to break down the silos, but still ensure that people are working on the right things.
You know, breaking down silos is so important. And I want to thank you. The work you've done here with the team at the Chamber of Commerce has been outstanding, and we've really help to break down those silos and learn how to work collaboratively and work together. So thinking about breaking down silos, I think this is a perfect segue to Ed Ramirez. Ed does a lot of work with the transformation into a digital era, a hyper growth in digital era in terms of where we were and where we are going. So Ed, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing to transform the chamber or the people you work with into the digital era.
Well, you know, Mike, that every disruption creates an opportunity. And I believe that what America is seeing right now is an opportunity to create again. You know, for a while we were doing things the way we were doing them and for so many years. So we're starting to see that the seasoned leaders are now finding that they have to do business in new ways. They have to use Zoom. They have to use social media. They have to use different means of communication, where the seasoned leader was used to shaking hands doing networking events. And now you find yourself that you have to do those events online using technology. So one of the things that I'm doing with the Economic Development Corporation is helping these seasoned leaders navigate through the process. A lot of them feel uncomfortable. A lot of them feel, I've never done this before. A lot of them even feel some fear. But I tell them, you know, that this is an opportunity, a transformational opportunity. You know, change always uses as a point of reference a former state of being or a former model. What's happening right now is that we're in a transformational state. The model is being created by this generation, is being created by us. So I believe that we can help them through training, education, and making them feel comfortable and making them feel excited that there are new opportunities of learning. This is an opportunity of growing, and for them not to feel that they've been left out of the game.
Yeah, and you have been doing a lot of training and education at the Chamber of Commerce. The entire team has to transform into this sort of disruptive era. You know, the future was thrust on us faster than we were anticipating. But, you know, as Maureen was talking about, and there's a lot of silver linings here that we can capitalize on. And I think we're all doing that. And I want to thank you. I'm surrounded by three amazing people. Laura, Maureen, is there anything you'd like to tell us about your company, Thrive Digital Era, and how people can find you and any events you may have coming up?
Sure. Well, we're really excited about doing an event with you guys on June 30th. And we're going to be talking about business comeback stories and how to accelerate your business comeback, or even if you've been doing well, how to accelerate action items and plans for the future to really leverage the time now and to now till the rest of the year. But also, Maureen and I do a really quick version of a SWOT analysis workshop, which we've made into a virtual section. We'd be happy to do with anybody listening, and we're happy to bounce ideas off of you. We're here to help. We do believe in giving way more than we do in asking. So whatever we can do to help the listeners, we're happy to do it. You could reach out to us on the website. It's thrivedigitalera.com. Maureen and I are always accessible. And I also tell and ask everybody to really get involved with the Chamber of Commerce, because the gentlemen here today are first rate, first class. The organization's phenomenal. And it really could be the difference between great success, you know, or medium success moving forward.
Well,
Yeah, I think it was great, Laura. Definitely, we believe in the power of connecting people, connecting peer colleagues as CEOs, and we would love to connect with anybody who's listening. So thank you.
So thank you for being here. Once again, that's Maureen Ennis and Laura Ali. That's thrivedigitalera.com. And Ed Ramirez from the Morris County Economic Development Corporation. I am definitely surrounded by three brilliant transformational leaders. And I want to thank the Morris County Chamber of Commerce membership for all of your support and all of the great work you're doing. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Morris County Chamber of Commerce. And thank you all for your support.
Thanks for the conversation, Mike.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.